Has this ever happened to you? You are in the middle of a sentence, and the word you need simply vanishes. You can feel it. You know it exists, but it will not come. Or you are introduced to someone, and their name disappears from your mind before you have even finished shaking their hand. Or you walk into a room in your own home, stop at the doorway, and stand there completely blank. No idea why you came in, no idea what you were looking for. These moments are small. They feel harmless, but over time, they plant something. A quiet, uncomfortable question that grows louder every time it happens. Is my memory going? I'll show you exactly why. If that question has crossed your mind, stay with me, because what I am about to share changes the answer entirely. My name is Dr. Maxwell Rowan, and I want to begin today by telling you something that took me years of working with patients to fully believe myself. Memory decline is not a sentence. It is not something written into your biology that cannot be changed. And the idea that the brain simply deteriorates with age and there is nothing to be done about it is one of the most harmful misconceptions in modern health culture. Harmful not because it is frightening, but because it leads to resignation. And resignation is the one thing that actually accelerates what you fear. When we believe nothing can be done, we stop challenging our minds. We stop learning new things. We stop reading. We stop engaging. We retreat into comfortable passive routines. And without realizing it, we hand our brain exactly the conditions it needs to decline faster. The good news, and this is news that modern neuroscience has confirmed repeatedly, is that your brain retains an extraordinary capacity to change, repair, and build new connections at any age. This capacity has a name, neuroplasticity. And today, I am going to show you how to use it in exactly 60 seconds a day. Let me explain neuroplasticity in a way that actually makes sense. Most people think of the brain like a machine, a computer that was built a certain way, runs for a certain number of years, and gradually breaks down. And once the components wear out, they are gone. That model is wrong, and it is holding millions of people back. Your brain is not a machine. It is living biological tissue, and living tissue responds to stimulation. It adapts. It reorganizes. It builds. Think of your brain like a vast, ancient forest. Every path through that forest was created by someone walking it. The more people walk a path, the wider and clearer it becomes. A path walked every day becomes a road. A road used constantly becomes a highway. But a path that nobody walks gradually fills with undergrowth. The trees close in. The edges blur. After enough time, the path disappears entirely. Your neural pathways work in exactly this way. Every memory, every skill, every piece of knowledge you hold exists as a network of pathways in your brain. Used regularly, those pathways stay clear, strong, fast. Neglected, they fade. But here is the part that changes everything. Your forest can always grow new paths. At 60, at 70, at 80, at any age, your brain retains the ability to create entirely new neural connections, new paths through the forest. This is not wishful thinking. It is measurable biological fact confirmed across hundreds of peer-reviewed studies. A landmark study from Harvard Medical School found that adults who engaged in consistent cognitive stimulation in their 60s and 70s showed measurably greater neural density and memory performance than those who did not, regardless of their baseline. The brain responds to the right stimulus at any age. The exercise I am about to teach you is a precise tool designed to deliver exactly that stimulus in 60 seconds, every day. But before I show you the exercise, I want to tell you about a patient I will call Edward. Edward was 76 years old, a retired architect, a man who had spent his entire career holding complex spatial designs in his mind simultaneously, rotating buildings in his imagination, remembering precise measurements, holding the entire logic of a structure in his head at once. His mind had been his instrument, his identity, his pride. When his daughter brought him to see me, she was visibly distressed. She told me, "Dr. Rowan, my father used to be the sharpest person in any room he walked into. Now he loses his train of thought in the middle of a sentence. Last week he forgot the name of his granddaughter, a child he sees every Sunday. He covered it so smoothly that she did not notice, but I did, and I saw his face afterward." Edward sat across from me and said something I have heard more times than I can count. "It is just age, Dr. Rowan. The mind goes. I have accepted it." I looked at him and said, "Edward, I am going to respectfully disagree with that, and I am going to ask you to do something that will feel strange, something that will take 1 minute of your morning, and I am asking you to do it every day for 4 weeks before you decide whether you have accepted anything." He looked at me the way most patients look at me when I say this, skeptical, slightly amused, but willing. 4 weeks later, Edward came back. He sat down, looked me in the eye, and before I could say a word, he said, "I remembered the entire floor plan of the first building I ever designed, 1974. Every room, every measurement. It just came back while I was having breakfast. I had not thought about that building in 15 years. His daughter was sitting beside him. She reached across and took his hand. "He is back," she said simply. "He is back." Edward's experience is not guaranteed for everyone. The brain is complex, and individual results vary significantly. But it is a real example of a real man who chose not to accept resignation as his final answer. Now I am going to give you the same tool I gave Edward. Here is the exercise, and I want you to actually do this with me right now if you can. All you need is a chair and 60 seconds of your full attention. No equipment, no special clothing, no standing up if that is difficult for you. This can be done entirely from your seat. Preparation: 10 seconds. Sit at the edge of your chair with your back straight but not rigid. Both feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Hands resting on your thighs. Close your eyes for a moment. Take one slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for 2 seconds, and release it slowly through your mouth. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the tension in your neck release. Open your eyes. You are ready. Part 1. The first 30 seconds. Oxygenation and activation. This first half has one goal: to increase the flow of oxygen-rich blood to your brain and activate the neural coordination centers. Here is the movement. Slowly raise your right arm forward, straight out in front of you, until it is parallel to the floor. As you raise it, inhale slowly through your nose, counting mentally to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now slowly lower your right arm back to your thigh. As it lowers, exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the same with your left arm. Raise it while inhaling to 4. Lower it while exhaling to 4. That is one full cycle. Slow, deliberate, completely synchronized with your breath. Continue alternating arms for the full 30 seconds. Right arm up, inhale, down, exhale. Left arm up, inhale, down, exhale. No rushing. Control is everything here. Why does this work? This rhythmic movement combined with deep nasal breathing does 3 things simultaneously. It calms your nervous system by activating the parasympathetic response. It increases oxygen concentration in your blood, the primary fuel your neurons run on. And it releases tension in the neck and shoulders, physically opening the pathways through which blood travels to your brain. You are not just relaxing, you are physically preparing the brain to receive the stimulus that comes next. Part 2. The second 30 seconds. Igniting neuroplasticity. Do not stop the arm movements. Keep the exact same rhythm going. Now, while your arms continue moving and your breathing stays controlled, add a mental task simultaneously. Begin naming items that belong to a category, any category. Start simple. Fruits, for example. As your right arm rises, say apple. As it lowers, think of the next one. As your left arm rises, say banana. Continue. Orange, mango, strawberry, pear, grape, melon. Keep going for 30 seconds. If your mind goes blank, that is completely normal and completely fine. Do not tense up. Keep the arms moving. Keep breathing. Wait, the next word will come. The blank moment is not failure, it is your brain searching. And searching is exactly what you want it to do. Why does this dual task work so powerfully? By forcing your brain to manage a physical coordination task and a memory retrieval task simultaneously, you create what neuroscientists call cross-regional activation. Your frontal lobe, responsible for attention and executive function, your cerebellum, responsible for motor coordination, and your temporal lobe, responsible for memory retrieval, are all required to communicate with each other at the same time. Think of your brain like a symphony orchestra. In normal daily life, different sections play at different times. The strings play, then the brass, then the percussion. This exercise forces the entire orchestra to play together, simultaneously. And to do that, the musicians, your neurons, must create new communication pathways between sections. New connections, new pathways through the forest. That is neuroplasticity. That is what 60 seconds of this exercise delivers. Now here is how you keep the brain challenged as it adapts, because your brain is extraordinarily efficient. If you do the same task every day, it will adapt to that task, and the exercise will become less effective. The right level of challenge is when you feel a slight mental effort, not frustration, effort. That friction is the signal that new pathways are being built. Week 1. Concrete categories. Start with simple, familiar categories. Fruits one day, animals the next. Countries, colors, items in your kitchen. These are categories your brain already has strong pathways for, which makes them accessible and builds confidence. Week 2. Alphabetical retrieval. Choose a letter and name every word you can think of that begins with it. Letter M. Mountain, mirror, marble, music, morning. This forces your brain to search its vocabulary in a completely different organizational pattern, building new retrieval pathways. Week 3. Reverse counting. While continuing the arm movements and breathing, count backward from 100 in steps of 3. 100, 97, 94, 91. If you lose your place, breathe. Resume from the last number you remember. This engages working memory and numerical processing simultaneously with motor coordination. It is genuinely challenging. That challenge is the point. Week 4 and beyond. Creative combinations. Mix categories. Name capital cities. Name famous architects or musicians or athletes from a specific era. Name people you went to school with. Name streets from a neighborhood you lived in decades ago. The more personally meaningful the category, the more deeply the exercise engages your autobiographical memory network. The golden rule: if it feels effortless, it is time to change it. Now let me tell you the 3 mistakes that stop this exercise from working, because doing it wrong produces almost no benefit. Mistake number 1, the most common one: rushing, moving your arms too quickly, breathing shallowly, turning a calm, deliberate exercise into a rapid mechanical repetition. Rushing activates your stress response, and cortisol, the stress hormone, is one of the most damaging substances for memory and neural health. Rushing does not just reduce the benefit, it actively works against it. Slower is always better. If you think you are going slowly enough, go slower. Mistake number 2, and this one destroys all progress: inconsistency. Doing the exercise enthusiastically for 3 days, then forgetting it for a week, then doing it twice, then stopping again. Neuroplasticity is built through repetition. New neural pathways are created and strengthened through consistent, repeated activation. A path that is walked once and then abandoned does not become a road. It fills back in. The solution is habit stacking. Attach this exercise to something you already do every single morning without thinking. The moment before your first coffee. The moment after you brush your teeth. The moment before you sit down to breakfast. Anchor it to an existing habit, and it will never be forgotten. Mistake number 3, the subtle one, most people never consider: distraction. Doing the exercise with the television on, while listening to a conversation, while something else has your attention. The mental challenge in part 2 only works when your full cognitive attention is directed at it. Your attention is the tool that carves new neural pathways. A divided attention produces a fraction of the result. 1 minute. Full attention. Every time. That is the standard. And now 3 things that measurably enhance what this exercise delivers. Secret number 1. A glass of water beforehand. Your brain is approximately 75% water. Even mild dehydration, the kind most seniors experience without realizing it after a night of sleep, measurably reduces cognitive performance, attention, and memory retrieval speed. Drinking a full glass of water before the exercise is not a minor courtesy. It is like giving your brain high-quality fuel before asking it to perform. Research published in the journal Frontiers in Human Neuroscience found that adequate hydration before cognitive tasks improved working memory performance by a measurable margin in adults over 60. Secret number 2. A deliberate, gentle smile. This will sound unusual, but before you begin, form a slight, deliberate smile. Not a performance, just a gentle upward movement of the corners of your mouth. This simple physical gesture triggers a neurochemical response. Your brain reads the physical expression of a smile as a signal to release dopamine and serotonin, neurotransmitters that directly enhance learning, memory consolidation, and neuroplasticity. You are essentially telling your brain, this is a safe, positive environment. Learning can happen here. It costs nothing. It takes 1 second. And the neurochemical effect is measurable. Secret number 3. Teach it to someone. The most powerful way to consolidate new knowledge is to teach it. When you explain this exercise to your partner, a friend, a neighbor, your brain is forced to organize, sequence, and articulate the information. This process of active retrieval and organization strengthens the neural pathways holding that knowledge far more than passive repetition ever could. And as a side effect, you now have someone to do it with. Accountability is one of the strongest predictors of habit consistency. Here is what I am asking you to do. Do not just save this video and move on. Make a commitment right now. 1 week. 1 minute every morning for 7 days. 7 minutes total across an entire week. That is all. And then, come back here to the comments after your first week and write, Week 1 done. Tell me one thing you noticed. Maybe you felt slightly more alert one morning. Maybe a word came back to you that usually escapes. Maybe nothing dramatic, just a small shift in how your mind felt. Your experience, however small, could be exactly what someone else needs to read to decide to try. Let us turn this comment section into a record of what is possible. We started today with 3 small, frustrating moments that most people dismiss as normal aging. We challenged the idea that decline is inevitable and replaced it with something more accurate and more powerful. The knowledge that your brain is not a machine rusting down. It is a garden that can bloom again, a forest that can grow new paths at any age, including yours. I shared Edward's story, not as a miracle, but as evidence of what becomes possible when a person chooses not to accept resignation as their final answer. And I gave you the same tool I gave Edward. 1 minute, 2 parts, oxygen and activation, then dual task and neuroplasticity. Now the decision belongs to you. You can close this video and continue as you have been, accepting the small lapses, explaining them away, waiting to see what comes next. Or you can find a chair, right now, and give yourself the first minute of a more mentally active life. This minute is not just an exercise, it is a declaration. It is you saying, my mind matters, my memories matter, my independence matters, and I am not done yet. I am Dr. Maxwell Rowan. Thank you for the time you gave me today, and for the respect you showed your own brain by being here. Now go and take care of that extraordinary mind of yours. I will see you in the next video.